Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness. Today, we are at Murkwater construction site. Got my first subscriber today. I think that's really exciting that somebody likes what I'm doing well enough to subscribe. So, if you're out there and you're watching, drop me a comment. Let me know that you're not a robot. So, taking a look at Murkwater, you can see it's a fairly small space. We'll have to try and somewhat restrain ourselves, but it's also a blank slate. There's nothing here to suggest any particular story other than the general ambiance of the place. It's dark and rainy. I mean, heck, it's 9 o'clock in the morning in game, and basically the sun never shines here. There's two small pre-existing structures, and that's it. So we have the freedom to do anything we want here. So, because we can make anything we want, I've chosen to make a peaceful place, a church. As we come up in here, I caught a break in the weather here, and so I can record with some actual light, which is good because I've mentioned before, I think that lights on in the daytime is silly. So this is a small area, and so generally what I have done is guard stations are on top of buildings, and residences are generally built into the outside walls of the place. So welcome to the Living Water Fellowship, which was founded by Josiah Smith. They don't worship Josiah Smith, but they do revere him, and you can see the big cross up there on the tower above the main sanctuary of the church. So each of these guard stations has a button next to it, and we also have a provisioner who has mysteriously decided to stand in the inaccessible place. Very annoying since I'm trying to record here. We'll come back to those buttons here in a minute. Now you're also going to see a lot of water purifiers in this place. The Living Water Fellowship is not a bunch of fanatics like we're used to seeing in Fallout. They will tell you about their religion if you ask about it, but otherwise they're content to give travelers free water and free medical help, and otherwise just try and be kind to the people that they encounter in the world. Now obviously they're set up to defend themselves if necessary, but they would prefer to evangelize a message of peace. So aside from these little residences that I've been running through in the perimeter of the place, there's just one other major building, and I'm just gonna try and go through these at warp speed because there's not much here in these little buildings that you probably haven't seen before. I did, when I built the guard stations, if this person would let me pass, and we'll just see if a good punch. Oops, killing them will probably turn the settlers hostile. So I did try and put a guard station to look out in all directions, and I do greatly wish that we could scrap the vegetation here. Hopefully someday with a mod. I've mentioned before that every settlement gets a bathroom. So this is the ladies, and here is the men's. They're just mirror images of each other. There's some more water purifiers to help with their mission of... Oh good, not all the settlers have turned hostile. Nobody must have seen me murder that guy. This tower over here, I don't really know what to do with it yet. Other than placing the cross on it, there's really nothing here. I'm kind of hoping that I'll get some inspiration when the new DLC drops, which is really like less than 24 hours from now. So I'm just gonna jump down here, and we're gonna take a look at the trading hub. These folks are willing to trade with anyone. They'll give you a fair deal, and they'll let you use their crafting stations for free. We come up here into a very well stocked junk shop. And there's another picture of Josiah there. They're just all over the place. Up here we have a clothing merchant who has a fairly decent inventory available, and also has a small changing room where you can try on clothes and decide whether or not you like them, whether they fit you, whether they'll protect you from a rad scorpion. And on this floor we've got a little lunch counter that has a nice view overlooking the marsh there as part of our restaurant. These folks don't forbid alcohol, although they generally frown on drinking to excess. Most of the time they will stick to wine and beer, and that's just about it. They were able to scavenge a friendly robot, which they have tried to convert to their religion, or at least to evangelize to it. Of course, the robot is very confused by that. So we do have a rooftop seating area, which doesn't get used too often because the weather is usually just so terrible at this place. It was actually kind of depressing to build here. But when the sun does come out, folks have a nice place to sit. So let's go back and talk about this button here real quick, and the others like it in the settlement. Just going to check one thing, and yep. So I have made it so that any guard at any guard station in the entire place can turn on all the defenses simultaneously. I built the place before Wasteland Workshop came out, and I spent so much time trying to make it power efficient that I haven't gone back and added fusion generators. Right now we've got 90 water and 12 defense, and we push the button and the siren comes on, the turrets activate, and we now have 0 water and 186 defense. These guys are always going to be low on the happiness meter because they always think that their defenses are not strong enough. But I was willing to sacrifice the income on the happiness for the extra efficiency and the role-playing aspect. So that was a really difficult thing to do because you have to be so careful with where you place pylons and where you place connectors, because if you're not, power will bleed from one circuit to the other and you'll end up with brownouts where some defenses are working, some purifiers are working, but it's not a nice switch from one to the other. So I have built myself a little control station here with a display panel. The left light indicates that purifiers are on, and if we hit the switch, the defenses will come on, although I think somebody has gone and turned off the siren. And we hit it again, and we're now back to making fresh water. The middle section here is for lights, and it will also cycle automatically with everything else here. So we go to defense mode, we go to peace mode with lights, back to defenses, and back to peace with no lights. So I think that this is something that may be useful and interesting when it comes to arenas, for example, being able to, with just one switch, open cages and turn on traps and flamethrowers and everything else, and then with that same switch be able to reset everything. So let's take a look at the last building in our settlement here. These folks are happy to have you come and visit their church, but they do want to keep it a peaceful place, and so they do ask that you leave your weapons outside. The doctor is indoors here, and again, as part of their mission, they are willing to offer healing to anyone for free. They will also do their best to try and wean drug addicts from their drugs, and so they do have a small supply of chems here, mostly just to try and get people over the hump when it comes to withdrawal symptoms. There's a little pulpit here, and looks out over the pews. There is housing for the church leaders inside here. It's not great because although it's not like they take a vow of poverty or anything, they do try not to concentrate too hard on material possessions. There is a guard station at this corner because I thought it would be kind of interesting just to try and build it into the middle of the building. I think it came out pretty good. It has a decent view, not great, but okay. And this is the one guard station that I couldn't put a switch in. I just had too many problems with power bleeding from my switching circuit into my turret circuit. So come back here to the last little bit, which is again housing for church leaders. Somewhere around here is the pastor. I dressed her up in pastor's vestments. The church leader is a woman. They don't have any discrimination on gender basis or sexual orientation or skin color or whether you're human or a ghoul. If even if you were a super mutant, as long as you came in peace, these folks would be happy to welcome you. Now there is a little bit more to this place. A nasty little Fallout twist that I am going to save for another part. So, thank you very much for watching. If you liked, click the like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. If you didn't like, please tell me why, and I'll try and do better next time. My name is Nacho Bidness, and I'll remind you that it is a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.